The only people who don't want to disclose the truth are people with something to hide.
So the website, knus.com, and you can directly email me to the site. But in the meantime, we have also put up on the site this morning, for those of you who have never seen it, and it's worthwhile, Dreams from My Real Father, the alternative Barack Obama autobiography done by none other than the man who's sitting in the studio. So on our website, 710 KNUS, if you have never seen the film, it's really convincing. Dreams from My Real Father. Ladies and gentlemen, at long last we get to meet, and I feel like I know you after all the times we've spoken together. This is Joe Gilbert. Welcome to Denver. Hey, I've got to mic you up here, bro. Hang on. Try that one. See if that one works. Is that you? Yes, sir. No, it's not you. How about this one?
How about that one?
There's that one. There you go. You work. I read your bio last night. We both share this. You're a Pittsburgh kid.
Born in Pittsburgh, Steelers fan all my life.
Yeah, it's cool, man. I never knew that. We've talked so many times, and here you are, a Pittsburgh kid. How did you get on to questioning Obama?
Well, I'm a Middle East and
you went to London School of Economics.
Correct, and I studied Islamic history and Arabic and political Islam with some of the greatest professors of our time, including Eli Kaduri, P.J. Vitikiotis, and I made a film called Atomic Jihad.
I remember the film.
Ahmadinejad's Coming War and Obama's Politics of Defeat. That was back in 2010. And in researching that film, I watched a couple of hundred speeches of Obama's and noticed that every time he talked about the rich and the poor, he would get a new personality. He'd start screaming and yelling. He'd put on the black preacher voice. And you could see that this guy just had a passion for class struggle. It was so obvious. So I read his book, Dreams from My Father, and right away it just stood out as this journey in the little-known world of American Marxism. He went to Occidental College to study with Marxist professors. He became an organizer, Malcolm X, socialist conferences, and also he talked about this guy Frank. The entire book he's talking about Frank.
Who is none other than
Communist Party propagandist, Soviet agent named Frank Marshall Davis. I got to look up Davis. I took the research where it led me. I read Davis's autobiography, Livin' the Blues. There's 30 photos in there look just like Obama. How could this be that he looks like Davis, the man who he admits that raised him, and nothing like the Kenyan? So that's what started me on the path.
It is 5 minutes after the hour. The website, 710 KNUS, for the first time, you can go and you can watch, and thank you, you can watch Joel's film, Dreams from My Real Father. If you've never seen it before, go into it with an open mind and just watch what he presents. The next step in this, because you really, and I want to come back to what's happened to you recently with the IRS, because I think you've been targeted. And by the way, it's going to be 92 the high today, says the KNUS Weather Center. And you can directly email us now from that same website. I want to mention that as well, 710knus.com. Now there's a direct email to me in the studio. So that's how this is going to work. And tell your friends outside the Front Range they can listen to us streaming, 710knus.com, because in about a week or two we're going to start just an internet radio site. And I'm really excited about it. And the guys at Salem have given us the green light to do that. So when you made a decision and you went to Hawaii and you backlogged this guy, and last night I made a list, and I'm sure this is a list that everybody has. When you ask the question, who really is Barack Hussein Obama? Who is he? What do you say?
I say that he is a Marxist ideologue that was raised and indoctrinated by his real father, Frank Marshall Davis, who was a Soviet agent, and followed in the footsteps of his real father, the dreams of his real father, all the way back to Chicago, where his father joined the Communist Party in the 30s, and he took with him a rat's nest of Marxists from Chicago to the White House, and he promoted a false narrative in order to accomplish this, because his ideology and his positions would have been completely unacceptable to the American people because they are incompatible with American values. So his false narrative included promoting the Kenyan, who was just a sham marriage at the time.
Who wasn't married. They weren't married.
They weren't married. I don't think the Kenyan Obama ever met his mother. And he promoted a false narrative of a different autobiography than the reality in order to cover the truth, which would have been unacceptable. It was a manipulation of the electorate. It's the biggest scandal in American history. Part of the false narrative was creating photos in Photoshop that were very poor forgeries. I revealed one, the mystery hand, where his mother has the hand of an adult black male. There are other photos.
By the way, this is all on the film 710 KNUS, and again, it's there.
It's there. There are other photos, like at Columbia University, where he's not really there. I'm investigating currently, and will be exposing several more fake photos that Obama put forth to create the false narrative. Also, as part of the false narrative, of course, his book, Dreams from My Father, we know was written by terrorist emeritus
Sure, absolutely.
Bill Ayers. And, of course, the birth certificate, which was a fraudulent document that he put forth that listed the Kenyan Obama as the father.
Jack Cashill's book, Deconstructing, I think is a wonderful book, and there's no, you cross over into people's areas, Robert Spencer and Jack Cashill and others, and Cashill's conclusion is, he didn't write this book. There's no way he wrote this book.
There's no question. Obama does not have the literary talent or the vocabulary to have written that book. And it just shows that he was very close to Bill Ayers and the Ayers family from his...
And actually lies about his relationship with Ayers.
Obama's entire narrative is false, and it's false because it hides an ideology and an agenda that are unacceptable that we're now seeing come out in full. And this is what happens when these Marxist ideologues take power. They use the tools of the state to suppress the opposition and maintain a permanent hold on power and create a one-party state.
Do you find it fascinating, and I spoke over the weekend with Robert Spencer, how totally on the other side, supporting the Muslim Brotherhood again and again and again and again is the administration? That whether it is what happened in Libya, what happens now in Syria, what's happening in Egypt, again and again and again and again, this administration, and I'm no fan of the last administration, but this administration has turned up again and again and again and again supporting the Brotherhood. What do you do with that?
Well, first you have to understand why. The Marxist ideology and Islamist ideology have one big thing in common. They both view American and Western capitalism as an obstacle to taking power, and therefore they believe it must be destroyed. This has always been the nexus of Islamism and Marxism, and that's why they use the same ideology and their allies throughout the time of the Soviet Union through the Obama administration.
Again, but I watched this they were giving battle tanks and fighter bombers to Mohammed Morsi, and there wasn't anyone with room temperature IQ that didn't realize where those weapons were, if used, where they were going to end up. They certainly weren't going to end up in suppressing anything inside of Egypt.
Well, honestly, Peter, I feel we're in a time that is similar to 1933 in Germany.
Indeed.
Because there is no opposition. Within the Democrat Party, there's no opposition. The Republicans are quite feeble-minded, and they have a very difficult time opposing or even saying what Obama's agenda is.
I agree.
We have the court system, which is afraid to take on any issues, and we have the media, which is compliant. So in a world of no opposition, they feel and they will get away with anything, and we're seeing it going down that road. And you don't have to look very far back in history to see what happens when there's no opposition and how dark and dangerous things can get.
Again, 10 minutes after the hour, this was a surprise for us, and it's great. We had the opportunity, got the phone call, hey, Peter, I'm in town. I'd never met him before. We have spoken so many times. Dreams from My Real Father. Joel Gilbert's here. And again, coming up, The Man Who Claims He Is Jesus. That stuff is up now on the website. But if you have never seen Joel Gilbert's work, it is now yours, 710knus.com. Now the IRS, there's no doubt in my mind from reading that they began to target Obama's political opposition. It's no surprise that we find out this people's financial accounts, private financial accounts, were hacked into. You believe you were hacked.
Two things happened to me. First, I got a bill from the IRS. They opened up my 2009 tax returns and simply denied all of my business expenses. Now, it seemed like a joke at first. I would just go give it to them again. This is ridiculous. Must be a mistake. My accountant went down and resubmitted all the expenses, and we're over a year later, and they still have not recognized that I can take any deductions from 2009. Clearly harassment. Then I had a a leftist reporter that works with that Soros-backed organization. His name's Seth Rosenfeld.
Sure, he's called the show many times.
Oh, yes.
No, he stalks you.
He stalks me.
He's a stalker.
So he got access to my bank accounts and tried to intimidate my investors, very similar to what happened to the National Organization for Marriage. But what it shows, it's not about me, it shows that the election was not clean. They used the IRS to suppress the grassroots organizing of the conservatives while allowing the leftists to organize. That means it was a stolen election.
Now, who provided Rosenfeld with your private bank records?
This theory has been evolving. At first, we thought maybe some teller at some Chase Bank or Bank of America up in San Francisco might have been a friend of his and given the information. Then we thought, well, the IRS scandal, maybe it was from the IRS, so we're actually still making inquiries to get information from them. Then the NSA scandal. Well,
that was my next one.
It's not inconceivable that if the NSA has access to everything, that Obama could have used the NSA. Don't forget there was that incredible database that
Indeed.
the Obama campaign used that had all these details on everybody, and they were able to have this amazing, I don't think they Googled everybody in the country to create a database.
No.
I have to assume that the Obama campaign used the NSA data to categorize and reach out to a large group of potential voters.
IRS opens your 2009 tax return, correct?
Correct.
And they deny every one of your business expenses, even though you had documented everything.
Absolutely. I'm a 12 years in business documentary filmmaker. By that criteria, they could open up everyone's past tax returns and deny everyone's expenses and send everybody a bill for 5 figures.
Dreams from My Real Father, the official film, by the way, up on the website right now. Do you believe that appearing on radio shows with me and other people, making appearances that you did, the kinds of work that you have done, the work that you have done, do you think that got you jacketed?
There's no question that the Obama administration is following the classic Marxist formula to get themselves into power under false pretenses and then use that power and use the tools of the state to suppress the opposition and create a one-party system. This is their game plan. This is what they've been up to. Obama was involved in this Project Vote himself from 1992, launched his career with massive voter fraud, and they've been doing it ever since then. In their book, The Ends Justifies the Means.
You know what's interesting? I've said this publicly and privately. I have seen my last Republican president. I won't see another one in my lifetime. And I'm an old guy. The media, we talk so much about the media. There is absolutely how the ball was dropped. I was here in Denver when Obama made that speech about the unlikely, the goat herd from Kenya, the farm girl from Kansas. And right there at the beginning of that speech is a lie.
The entire narrative is a lie in order to hide an agenda that is incompatible with American values. The agenda is Marxism, government control, eliminating the middle class, and creating a permanent power class so they can use the assets of the states for themselves and create a permanent lower class. This is their game plan, and this is what they've been up to since the very beginning.
The man said in his book, and I read his book, I was 2.5 years of age and my father went to Harvard. No mention of mommy taking off to go to Washington State.
Correct. Obama actually, during the last campaign, he said and tweeted, I was born to a single mother in Hawaii. So he finally negated the false flag he put forth for years. When my daddy was 2 years old, my daddy left me.
2.5, yeah.
He would get into that.
I know what it's like. My daddy left me.
Exactly.
Tells a little kid on, remember the little kid? He goes, he's in the room with the kid. I know what that's like.
Yeah, the ironic thing is he's trying to promote this idea of I had a single mother as if this is a good thing. But in reality, he says his daddy left him, and actually, in reality, he had 4 fathers.
The only people who don't want to disclose the truth are people with something to hide.